Credit cards. We love them when we spend. We hate them when the bills arrive. We all love to be those responsible, righteous people who are not overusing the credit card. But then we find that otherwise responsible people end up overspending. So what is happening here? There is very interesting research which shows how credit cards might actually be creating that nice divide of high spending and delayed repentance. Brian Cutson and his fellow psychologists at the Stanford University did some work in 2007. They did some MRI scans of the brain, and what they found was that there were two separate regions in the brain. There was the nucleus accumbens, which is the portion of the brain that's responsible for those pleasurable feelings that we get when we actually see a well-packaged product. The joy of a kid seeing a very nicely colored and decorated cake, for example. So when we want to spend, it is the nucleus accumbens that get lit, they get activated. But when we have to pay, there is another part of the brain called the insula. So it is the insula which gets activated and generates pain responses. So you find that woman getting out of her car and bargaining for that bunch of coriander leaves. It is that struggle between her nucleus accumbens and her insula. She's paying cash, so she's getting that pain along with that pleasure of buying what she wants. But what happens in a credit card spend is that there is just one portion of the story happening when the card is swiped. There is no pain response which accompanies the spending response when you're using the card. The pain is coming much later when the bill arrives. So most people who are swiping their credit cards might probably have the brain chemicals to blame for what's going on with their spending. So you can't keep blaming your brain chemicals for what's happening with your credit card balances. You have to take charge. Now the top player here is your card issuers, your MasterCard, Visa and others who are telling merchant establishments to simply accept your card and allow you to spend. They get their payments from these agencies. Then there is of course the issuing bank. Now your issuing bank is actually making you a loan when they issue a credit card to you. What happens is, let's assume that you spent about 50,000 rupees on the credit card in the first month. Now there is a time period over which you spend, and at the end of the time period you receive your credit card statement. Now what does your credit card statement say? It says that there is a minimum due of 2,500 from you. And you say good, and you pay off the minimum due. The moment you have paid the minimum due, the entire balance, that is the 47,500 rupees that is remaining unpaid, becomes a loan. Now the interest on this loan is 3% per month, which is like 36% per annum, one of the most expensive loans you can ever get because it's a completely unsecured loan. Now what happens after this is, let's assume you then made another purchase of 10,000. Now the interest on this purchase will start ticking the day you have made it. And end of that month when you receive a statement, you will have the earlier balance, the spend of this month, and you will have a fat interest amount, which is the interest on the earlier 47,500 and this month's 10,000, all at 36% for the number of days for which you have spent. So you will find that you keep paying the minimum amount, but the amount that is outstanding from you is increasing month on month. That's because this is now a loan which the bank is giving you at 36%. So you will find that you have an outstanding amount of 56,264, for example, in this case. And as you keep purchasing, you keep availing the loan. So when you use a credit card, it is important to remember that you are actually taking a loan from the bank. Unless, of course, you are paying off the entire balance the moment the card statement comes to you. Now this means that you have used those 45 days free period, in a sense that you have utilized the card but no interest is charged on you. But the moment you decide not to pay the entire amount, the balances become a very high cost loan. So whenever you use the credit card, please remember that you're actually borrowing from the bank and only take on that amount of borrowing that you can service.